Hello, everyone. Thank you. Nice to see everyone. Nice to see some familiar faces. Met some of you, but nice that we have a full room today. How's everyone? Good, great, awesome. Okay, let me begin here. Yeah, I see you guys have a copy of the slides, so that's great. So just to start off, essentially what we're doing, I know some of you are familiar with what an offset is. If anybody's not familiar with a carbon offset, is there anybody here who doesn't know what an offset is, or like the concept of emissions offset or carbon offset or a carbon credit? Everyone's familiar, or no?
We're good.
Okay, cool, perfect. Yeah, so essentially what we're trying to do is develop a new type of offset that is an evolution of the current standard in the voluntary space. And I know there's a slide here like that. I know you guys have heard about the sort of the stigma around offsets and the history behind these different scams, like the I believe it's called the hawk bird sanctuary in the States. This is one of the more infamous offset scams where they were planting trees in the sanctuary to assert an offset, which they sold to companies like Shell and Nike and all these other corporate customers who wanted to assert their emissions reductions, or were doing it for compliance reasons. Yeah, essentially all these offsets right now that are accused of being scams are based on forestry emissions reductions. So it's either them planting trees, or they are taking a plot of land that is supposed to be deforested and then saving it. And the way they quantify the methodologies they use to develop these offsets are, even though they're a recognized standard, usually they're with the Vera nonprofit organization who develops methodologies for offsets, or the American Carbon Registry. The big problem with this is that it's hard to quantify in exact terms. And what I mean by that is it's not our platform is digital, so it's not somebody going to a big plot of land and then doing the quantification analysis and stuff like that. Like based on personal experience, like these people usually do it by eye because they're trees and they're just plants. So either they do it, they count it visually what's in front of them, and they measure like a sapling or something like that, or they do it through satellite images. What we're doing is we want to generate offsets using small solar systems, so rooftop solar installations on your home, on your community center, your recreation centers, anything really that's not qualified as a power plant, but is connected to the electric grid in Alberta and produces renewable energy, can produce also offsets automatically. Like we don't have to attach a thing to your solar panels or do anything like weird with it. All we have to do is connect your solar panels through your Wi-Fi or through an internet connection that's in the area, and then we can remotely gather energy production data over a period of time. And what that means is if we group together all multiple solar panel installations or homes or buildings, we can create essentially a virtual power plant. So some of you are familiar with what a virtual power plant is, but it's essentially a big power plant that's not physically connected, but digitally connected through the internet, because there are multiple systems all over, let's say Edmonton or Alberta. So we consolidate it, then we serialize and monetize the data as emissions reductions. And in Alberta, there's a system called the Emission Offset System, which is something that's developed under a tier, which is the emissions reduction regulation. And we create carbon offsets. So they're called Alberta emission offsets, which we then sell to compliance buyers on the Alberta Emission Offset Registry. And these are compliance grade offsets. So what that means is the companies that buy these offsets can use them, can retire them in Alberta's offset registry, which reduces which fulfills their compliance obligations. It's completely digital, so we're not, there's no energy auditor who's going out there with a clipboard and measuring saplings and stuff like that. It's all through the internet and through a program that we have a prototype of that essentially uses APIs provided by solar panel manufacturers to connect through the internet and then remotely gather data and then consolidate the data and then apply the math needed to get the emissions reductions in metric tons. And that's how you get offsets. I hope I'm making sense here. Yeah, so these are community-based offsets, and a big part of this actually is, my slides are backwards. Okay, cool. So what we're doing right now is we're trying to develop these offsets, but we're not just looking at residential solar, solar panel systems. We're looking at municipal, we're looking at nonprofits. One of our partners right now is Naval Energy, and they do renewable energy systems and energy efficiency and retrofits and audits for at-risk and indigenous communities, and as well as communities here in the city. They work a lot with the Bissell Center and SPICE, the Solar Cooperative Edmonton, Faith in the Common Good. We're actually working with NAMO right now with the United Church of Canada and the Faith of the Common Good to retrofit churches in Edmonton. I think there are about a couple hundred. And with those retrofits, we're going to install solar and produce carbon offset revenue for them. So the carbon offsets come from these churches, and we sell them to companies like Shell. Like, actually, we have a whole list here, I'm sure you guys. So these are all organizations we've approached and have expressed interest in what we're doing, and are essentially they've all said that they're going to buy offsets from us, although we haven't specified any amounts or anything. We want to launch the pilot first. That's our main goal. And go back to that slide. It's a 600 kilowatt pilot, so 600 kilowatts worth of solar panel installations. Right now we're at 11 and 458. Yes. So this is the based on the numbers of solar panel installations we have in Alberta right now. This is what we forecasted using the federal carbon pricing schedule. So last year it was 2.4 million in potential revenue. This year we're looking to lose 4.7, and then assuming the number of solar panel installations and micro-generation solar panel installations, so rooftop solar, does not go up in the next 8 years, it's still the same number here, we're going to lose 71 million. And that's impossible, right? This number is going to go up in the next 8 years for sure, like drastically probably. And we hope we can help accelerate that number going up by offering basically a way to reduce your overall investment costs for your solar panels. That's essentially it. Oh, there we go. So right now, we just want to launch our pilot on the Alberta emission offset system. Yeah, if you know anybody with solar, you can hook us up, and then we'll get them the offset revenue, and they can help us out with the pilot. And after we launch the pilot, that's when we're looking to really like raise or go serious with the business case. Sorry, we're very early stage. You can probably tell. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gino. So that's an important space to him because people want to buy offsets. It's a hot thing right now. So any questions for anybody? Yes.
Revenue model.
Yes. Yeah. Commission based. So the 600 kilowatt target for the pilot is based on us trying to break even with the costs to launch an offset project on the Alberta emission offset system. So we're looking at a break even of, if I remember correctly, it was 1 year for 600 kilowatts. And that's why this is the target number we're setting at. And I think our commission was 30% or something like that, but that's open to change. It essentially is a commission-based revenue model.
How does that compare to ones that maybe are tapping into the carbon offset markets in the whether it's trees or forestation?
Well, there's no. Sorry, what do you mean?
I'm just saying, like, if you're getting 30% through your model here, presumably there's other companies that are operating in the forestry space that offer credits. What kind of margins are they looking at?
Not quite sure because I'm not familiar with the forestry space, and most of those companies are in the voluntary space. We're doing this in the compliance space under the Alberta offset system. I can tell you though what the margins are for our competition, because as far as I know, there are 2 other organizations in Alberta doing microgeneration offsets, not community-based offsets, but they're just offering this to people with solar panels at home. As far as I know, they're not doing anything.
You can ask them offline. Is there another question I saw? I saw the back. Yes.
Hey, Jim. Great presentation, super interesting space. Just wondering
Thank
if
you.
you could talk a little bit about the buyers themselves, like your
Yeah.
conversations with the buyers,
Yeah.
what they see in the marketplace, how they value offsets.
Yes.
Contracts, are they like
Oh, yeah.
contracts?
It's a good question.
Year? How does that work?
Sorry, man. I'll get back to you later. Is Dr. Wu? I'm sorry. No, the other guy, the first guy.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, what was your name?
I'm John. I'm
Mike?
That's John.
John. Okay, John. Yeah, so I can tell you a little bit about Shell, because the guy I talked to at Shell was pretty open. That's cool. Shell, he's an emissions trader at Shell, and he told me that the next 20 years for Shell are going to be completely different. They're trying to maneuver out of the oil and gas space and stay in the energy space, but do it through renewables. And they're planning a bunch of environmental. I know they have an environmental products department now, I think, which is actively trading in the offset space, like not just for asserting their emissions reductions, but like doing it as a side gig. They actively trade offsets in the voluntary space in the States. I know they have Shell is the largest holder of offsets in Alberta under the Alberta emissions offset system. So they have I think they have like 500,000 metric tons or something like that. But yeah, there's all across the board, like a lot of them are looking at this not just as a compliance cost, but as a way to invest in the future of offsets. Like they really want to make bank out of it.
So do we have one more question? One last one? Oh, yeah, all the way at the back. Sorry.
How does it work? I think sometimes when people put in solar installations, they get a grant and they give away this right. Is that?
Yeah, that's true. That was actually a really big problem we had, like initially, but it's not as serious anymore because previously there were two. So it's Banff and I think Edmonton were the only two jurisdictions in Alberta that had grants that would take away the environmental attributes of your renewable energy system. So exactly what you're describing. The one in Banff I think is still around. I forget what it's called, but the one here in Edmonton is no longer active. I believe they're replacing it with the CEIP, the Clean Energy Improvement Program or something like that. And the new one, which is also being deployed in Devon and Rocky Mountain House. Sorry, yeah. Essentially now, yeah, it's all good now. Like there are no more grants. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm really bad at this.
Okay,
But
just quickly, last one. Would you like to say, or was that it?
We were talking about solar panels, consumers, to create a virtual, you called it a virtual power plant of some sort.
yes,
What is
in a
it,
form.
what is the benefit to these individuals to actually buy into this whole concept? Why would I do that? Why should I do that?
As an owner of like a solar panel.
Yeah, what do I get?
Yeah, you get basically free money because we would be gathering data that you would be producing anyways. And you get solar panels. The economic reason for solar panels is you get those energy credits on your utility bill, right? You can also get revenue from the carbon offsets at no extra cost or extra work. All you have to do is sign an agreement with us, and we'll do it for you and get the data. That's it. Like you don't have to do anything. You don't have to pay us anything. In fact, you should get a check at the end of the year. But what we're trying to do actually is get that money up front. Like if you sign up with us right now and we can give you the money, all of that right away, that'd be great. Right?
So yeah, we can talk about it later. Thank you very much for a presentation.
Thank you.